What's going on, Houston Rockets fans all over the world? This is Rockets Daily, brought to you by FanArch. It is the off season, but got some things to talk about here. My name's David Delano. This is brought to you by FanArch. Go ahead, like, subscribe to this channel. That way you're going to be notified every time there is a video dropped for the Houston Rockets. And go ahead and comment. Definitely appreciating those comments. And Brett, thanks again for another great comment. For those of you who are interested in our history segment, we're actually going to talk about the most important season of the Houston Rockets franchise at that time. The 1976-1977 season really turned around the Rockets and was the biggest season in franchise history up to that point. We're going to go ahead and get into that. You can also follow me on X at GetSportsStrong. Now, first of all, yesterday you could check out the episode for Friday, July 25th, and go back. And we went through all the different championship odds. We talked about Kevin Durant's MVP odds. We talked about Thompson's odds for Defensive Player of the Year, along with Most Improved Player. We talked about Udoka's odds for Coach of the Year, and the Rockets' odds to win both the Western Conference and the whole NBA championship. And one book has the Rockets with the second best odds in the West behind Oklahoma City. Another book has the Rockets third in the West and fifth in the NBA. Now, we're going to talk about here some of the keys to a championship. What I believe, and you guys feel free to chime in with your opinions as well, because my opinion is not the gospel. But what do I think is the most important key to the Rockets winning a championship? And this is probably going to be the key for almost every team in the NBA. And that's going to be health. Now, if every team is healthy, now we have something to talk about. But a lot of times, what we've seen historically, and people want to put asterisks next to it, but no, the health, conditioning, all of that plays a factor for the healthiest team. A lot of times, teams will eliminate themselves. Cleveland Cavaliers last season, Garland was hurt. They had that Mobley missed some time in the playoffs. That really affected things. Got to the finals. The Thunder stayed healthy. Pacers were big underdogs, but they had a shot. But injuries. Halliburton's injury, we'll never know, but it is what it is. Steph Curry with the Warriors. I don't think that the Warriors were going to win the championship, but hey, they were in it. Had an injury. So injuries mean a lot of different things. Michael Porter Jr. didn't look right with the Denver Nuggets. Aaron Gordon was banged up. So the most important piece is going to be, can the Rockets stay healthy? A lot of young players on this team, which is a great sign. A lot of depth on this team. When you talk about this roster, 1 through the top 14, 1 through 15, is there a deeper team in the NBA? You've got a lot of guys who, if you have some injuries, you've got guys who can step up on the bench, where if you're going, 8, 9, maybe 9 deep in the playoffs, you've got a lot of different bodies and you can have willing to sustain some injuries. But those types of injuries that this team's built to sustain, Clint Capella, you got Steven Adams, you got Clint Capella. But Kevin Durant, Şengün, those guys, Thompson, are going to need to be healthy. Thin at point guard, as we've completely talked about a lot. I think the health of Fred VanVleet is going to be huge. Whether or not Reed Shepherd's ready to take that step or not, I think Fred's health is going to be huge overall. And Kevin Durant, health is going to be huge for that top 7. It's going to be a big deal. So that's the biggest thing for the Rockets. First of all, can this team stay healthy? And then as we talk about keys to the title, and we'll also talk about, well, it just kind of ties in with a weakness as well, the outside shooting. Right now, got a lot of guys that can defend on the perimeter, can switch. That's going to be great. I expect this team to be top 3 in the NBA in defensive rating. I expect this team to be top 5, maybe top 3 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. which is going to help the shooting because you're going to get more shot opportunities. But once again, it's going to be tough to win a championship if we don't take a step forward with three-point shooting. Now, Kevin Durant, obviously on the team, Dorian Finney-Smith, we will see. Kevin Durant's going to have to be healthy, but I would like to see, is this team good enough to be in the top 10 in three-point shooting in the NBA where that's just such a big part of the game. And overall, I still added a lot of toughness, added guys who could rebound, added guys who could defend on the perimeter, got guys who could defend inside. I love it, but I would have liked to see some more shooters. There were some guys out there that we didn't jump on. Even with the summer league, it kind of showed the guys that were trying out, the guys that were working out, that the perimeter shooting could be a problem in the Achilles heel for the Rockets. So I think health and outside shooting are going to be the two most important things. The Rockets can take that step up, shooting the ball from the outside and stay healthy. We should be talking about maybe a championship next season. And that's really where it comes in. At a comment about, Ahmed Thompson working on his outside shot. With a lot of these young guys, there's that upside for growth. Jabari Smith shot decent. Tari Eason. If Thompson, if Eason, if Jabari can all shoot a little bit better, and if we can actually get, Reed Shepherd to show some of that outside shooting that he showed at Kentucky and defend just well enough to give us some solid minutes, definitely could be looking at some things. But, Amin, Jabari, Tari, Reed, I think that those are guys in-house that can really help this team outside shooting. And let's go ahead and get into the history here. And we're going to go ahead and talk about this 1976 to 1977 season, which was the Houston Rockets' best season to date at that time. Went 49-33 in the regular season, won the Central Division, finished second in the Eastern Conference. And this was a huge year in NBA history because the summer of 1976, one of the biggest seasons in NBA history. That year we saw the ABA and NBA merger. You had four ABA franchises. The final four ABA franchises, went to the NBA. The Denver Nuggets, the Indiana Pacers, the New York Nets, and the San Antonio Spurs. Each incoming team paid $3.2 million and had their roster stripped. And really with this happening as well, another huge thing that happened this season. This was the first season, 1976 to 1977, that Moses Malone, just 21 years old at the time, played for the Houston Rockets. Briefly played with the Buffalo Braves in the ABA. Only played 2 games with Buffalo that season. Came over to the Houston Rockets as a rookie. Averaged 13.5 points per game and 13.4 rebounds per game. At the time, he set an NBA record with 437 offensive rebounds. Rudy Tomjanovich led the team in scoring with 21.6 points per game. Calvin Murphy was second, 17.9 points per game. Talked about Moses Malone and what he did. Mike Newland, 12.7 points per game. John Lucas, 11.1 points per game. This team went to the playoffs, knocked off the Washington Bullets, who were led by Elvin Hayes, who we talked about him in the history segments with the Rockets. Great start to his career with the Rockets, moved on to Washington. Rockets went ahead and knocked them off and then lost in the Eastern Conference Finals that year to the Philadelphia 76ers. This was the first year that Tom Nasauki coached the Houston Rockets. Prior to that, he had been coaching in the ABA with Utah. 49-33, very successful. Unfortunately for Nasauki, we'll talk about a little bit more. This was the most successful season in his NBA career. First season in the NBA with the Houston Rockets. It didn't get better for him, unfortunately, after that. But 49-33, got beat by the Philadelphia 76ers, who had Dr. J. And this particular season, Rockets were runners up in the conference. And the NBA Finals that year was the championship that the Portland Trailblazers won against the Philadelphia 76ers. So Rockets at that time were actually members of the Eastern Conference, believe it or not. So Portland was the 3 seed in the West. They ended up winning the whole thing. Rockets were the number 2 seed in the East, finished just one game behind the 76ers in the regular season, but got beat by the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals that season. But that was the 1976-1977 season, which was very, very obviously instrumental in the future of the Houston Rockets. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep on getting into these history segments going forward. History is obviously something that, whether people want to hear about it or not, it's always important to talk about. Sometimes it just probably would have been a history major in college if thought there was some money in it. But then again, not like going in communications and journalism, wasn't necessarily the well. That's a whole nother topic, as you could talk about college majors. There's money in everything at the top, but history. I could go on about just my love for history and sometimes just the distortion of it and things like that. But the point being, whether you like history or not, it's important to know. And Brent, thanks so much for pointing out the last couple episodes that did not have the history segment. So salute to the 1976-1977 Houston Rockets. John Lucas as a rookie that season. Very, very, very important season in Rockets history. This is Rockets Daily, brought to you by FanArch. My name is David Delano. You can follow me on Get Sports Strong. We appreciate it if you subscribe and help us grow for an exciting, exciting season to come. Let's have a great day. Be safe on those roads.